This is your lesson on 5-2, solving inequalities by multiplication and division. Alright, let's start off with our discovery. Let's see what happens when we multiply each side of an inequality. So you start off with 4 is greater than 2. Let me show that. I have 4 is greater than 2. I will multiply each side by 3. So multiply this by 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, 12 and 6. Notice that 12 is still greater than 6. That holds true because look, 12 is still greater than 6. Notice that the direction of the inequality remains the same. Let's do 7 is less than 9. 7 is less than 9. Seven is less than 9. Let's multiply this by negative 2. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. So this has to be negative 14. Negative 14. Okay. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. Watch very carefully. Negative 18. Oh, what do you notice? Do you see the scale tipped? It says that negative 14 is greater than negative 18. So it says negative 14 is greater than negative 18. Do you see how the scale shift over? Making the negative 14 is greater than once we multiply. So you should notice that the inequality symbol changes directions. Here's the key concept. When you multiply by negative value, the direction of the inequality changes. 7 times negative 2 and 9 times negative 2, when we multiply it by negative 2, our symbol changed from a less than symbol to a greater than symbol. You should notice that. Okay. Let's solve by multiplying. Then let's graph the solution. We have negative 3 over 7r is less than 21. This is my original inequality. I'm going to be multiplying each side by its reciprocal, which is 7 over 3, negative 7 over 3. And in the process of multiplying by that, because it's a negative value, I have to reverse the inequality symbol. On my right hand side, I get r, because that is what's left over. The less than symbol becomes a greater than symbol, and negative 7 over 3 times 21 becomes a negative 49. That's what happens after I simplified. So my solution set is written again as r bar. R is greater than or equal to any value of negative 49. This is my solution set. And here's what happens after I graph. I go to the value negative 49. I put a circle around that because it's open, because it's a greater than symbol. And I go all the way to the right because r is any value greater than negative 49. So negative 47, negative 45, negative 43, and negative 41, and so forth. What I would like you to do now is pause the video and try the guided practice. Solve, then graph the solution. 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D. Please take this time right now to try these problems. Then afterwards, I will be showing you the solution. This is the solution for 2a. I have negative n divided by 6 is less than or equal to 8. First step is to always write the original equation. I'm going to be multiplying by negative 6 to both sides, and in the process I reverse the inequality. Notice that this was a less than or equal to. Now it is a greater than or equal to symbol. Okay, I also multiply by negative 6 to both sides. The reason why I multiply by negative 6 to both sides is I'm trying to get n alone, so I use the inverse property. The inverse property of divide by negative 6 is multiply by negative 6. In the process, what I got left over after I simplified, on my left hand side I got n, which is greater than or equal to negative 48, because 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. That's what happens after I simplify. My solution set is n. N is greater than or equal to any value of negative 48. And here is my graph, right? It's closed. It goes all the way to the right. Any value that is greater than negative 48. So 47, 50, 0, 5, right? All those values are greater than negative 48. 2b, negative 4 over 3b is greater than negative 10. I start with my original equation. I multiply by negative 3 over 4 because that is the inverse property of 4 over 3. So I multiply negative 3 over 4 to both sides, and in the process I have to reverse the inequality because this is a negative. I'm multiplying by a negative, so I have to flip the inequality. So do you see this is a greater than symbol? It becomes a less than symbol. Then I get, after I multiply, I simplified. So what's left over on my left hand side is a p. On my right hand side I have negative 10 times negative 3, which is just 30, divided by 4. If you want to simplify that, that becomes p. P is less than or equal to less than 15 divided by 2 after I simplify. Okay, so my solution set is p. P is less than any value of 15 divided by 2. In this problem, if you simplify this, this should be 7.5, and it should be open, but it shouldn't be on the 7. It should be on the 7.5. Okay, but it still goes all the way to the left. Okay, do you see how the arrow here? It's pointing to the left. You go all the way to the left. Okay, good. Next, 2c. 1 over 5m is greater than or equal to negative 3. First, write my original equation, which is 1 over 5m is greater than or equal to negative 3. I have to multiply each side by 5, okay, because what is the inverse property of divide by 5? Multiply by 5. I multiply both sides by 5. Then I simplified. I did not flip the inequality because I multiplied by a positive value. I don't have to flip the inequality. I only flip the inequality when I multiply by a negative value. Multiplying by 5 is perfectly fine. So what do I get left over on the left hand side is an m. This is the greater than or equal to symbol. What's over on my right hand side, negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. That's what happens after I simplified. So my answer is m is greater than or equal to any value of negative 15. My solution set is m. M is greater than or equal to negative 15. So here you go. M is any value greater than negative 15. So it could be negative 12, negative 11, 0, 20, right? Any value all the way to the right. So just follow. Do you see how it points the arrow to the right? It goes all the way to the right. Good. 2d, 3 over 8t is less than 5. My original equation. I have to multiply by 8 over 3 to both sides because that is the inverse property. 3 over 3 divided by 8 is the same thing as 8 over 3, right? You multiply that to both sides. And I simplify. What do I get left over on my left hand side is t, because that's the inverse property. 5 times 8 over 3, that becomes 40 over 3. That's what happens after I simplified. So the solution set is t is Less than 40 divided by 3. Again, this should be 13 something, right? It shouldn't be exactly on 13. It should be 13 something. It's open and it goes all the way to the left because it can be any negative value, right? It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? T can be any value that is less than 40 divided by 3. Alright, so let's do something else. Let's discover something else. It says, let's see what happens when we divide each side of an inequality. Okay, here's my original equation, which is negative 10 is less than negative 5. So let's see that. Negative 10 is less than negative 5. Is that true? That is correct. Let's divide that by 5 to both sides. So 10 divided by 5 becomes 2. Right, negative 2. And negative 5 divided by 5 is negative 1. Oh, sorry. Alright, so we should still see, right? We see that negative 10 is less than negative 5. Once we divide by 5, okay, you should still get negative 2 is less than negative 1. Is that true? Yes, that is correct. Negative 2 is less than negative 1. Okay, negative 2 is still less than negative 1. Notice that the direction of the inequality still remains the same. Negative 2 is less than negative 1. Good. Let's try something else. 15 is less than 18. Let's do that. 15 is less than 18. So here's 15. Oh, 15. And 18's on the right hand side. So is this correct? 15 is less than 18. 15 is less than 18. That is correct. 15 is less than 18. I'm going to divide negative 3 to each side. Okay. Divide by 3, negative 3 to each side. So 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. Okay. So let's do that. Okay, and 18 divided by negative 3. 18 divided by negative 3. 18 divided by negative 3 should be 18 divided by negative 3 should be negative 6. Okay, so let's do that. Oops! Do you see that? The scale shift. Negative 5 is greater than negative 6. Let's see if that's true. That is correct. Negative 5 is greater than negative 6. What did you notice about that scale? We should have noticed that, here's the key concept, when you divide by negative value, the direction of the inequality changed. Again, you saw how the scale changes sides, okay? It changed, the inequality changed. So, we should see here that in the process of dividing by that negative value, in our case was negative 3, the direction of the inequality changes directions. Alright, let's see this. 6t is greater than 8. Okay, I wrote my original equation. Divide by 6. T, 60 divided by 60 is just t. 8 divided by 60 is just 2/15. The inequality did not change because I divided by a positive value. This is my solution set, t. T is greater than any value of 2 over 15. Right there. So t is greater than any value over 2 over 15. This is a little bit off, right? Because 2 over 15 is a very small decimal number between 0 and 1. Okay? Let's do this one. Negative 7d is less than or equal to 147. Here's my original equation. I'm going to divide by negative 7 to both sides because I'm trying to solve for d. I'm trying to get d alone. So I get d here. Do you see I flip my my inequality in the process of dividing by negative 7? Divide each side by negative 7. So the less than or equal to symbol here changes to a greater than or equal to symbol. D is greater than or equal to negative 21. So D is greater than or equal to negative 21. Here's my symbol, right? I closed it right here at negative 21, and I go all the way to the right because D is any value that is greater than negative 21. What I would like you to do is now do the guided practice. You're going to solve and graph the solution 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D. Please pause this video now and give it a try. Afterwards, I will be showing you the solution. Let's go over the solution. 3A, we have 8p is less than 58. My first step is to always write the original equation. And then I divide by 8 to both sides because I'm trying to get p alone, right? 8 is multiplied into p, so the inverse of multiplication by 8 is divide by 8. That is the reason why I divide 8 to both sides. I simplified, right? What I get left is p on the left hand side, which is less than 29 over 4. 58 divided by 8 is simplified into 29 over 4, or in decimal form, it is 7.25. Again, I do not flip the inequality because it is not a negative value. So my solution set here is p. P is less than any value of 7.25. So this should be 7.25. It shouldn't be on that 7. And it is any value less than 7.25. So 654321, any negative value works as well. That is why you see I highlighted all the way to the left. 3b, negative 42 is greater than 6r. Okay, negative 42 is greater than 6r. Divide by 6 to both sides. R is greater than, negative 7 is greater than any value of r. Okay, I just divide 6 to both sides because I'm trying to get r alone. I do not flip the inequality sign because I just divide it by a positive value. Okay, my solution set here is r is less than any value of negative 7. Do you see? It's exactly like this, but I just flip it because I want the r right here in our set builder notation. R is less than any value of negative 7. Okay, so if you graph, right, here's negative 7, and r is less than any value of negative 7. So negative 8, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, any value, so forth, would work for this value. 3c, negative 12h is greater than 15. Here's my original equation. Ooh, that is off. This should be just in greater than symbol. Okay. I divide both sides by negative 12 to both sides, and in the process I flip the inequality. So I divide by negative 12 to both sides. What I get left over on my left hand side is h is less than or equal to negative 5 over 4, or h is less than or equal to negative 1.25. Either way it works. Right, this is in its fraction form, this is in its decimal form. Again, this is a mistake because this is a greater than symbol, this is a greater than or equal to symbol, right? It should remain the same, okay? But in the process, you still have to flip it. Here's the solution set. H is less than negative 1.25, like before. Okay, so this should be an open value, and it should be on negative 1.25. H is less than negative 1.25, so you can be negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5, so forth, right? So those are all the values that h can take. Remember, this should be open because this should just be, it shouldn't have the bar under it, okay? There you go. 3D, negative 1 half n is less than 6. Start by writing your original equation. Trying to get n alone, I have to use the inverse property. So in this case, I'm going to be multiplying by negative 2 over 1 to both sides. And in the process, I'm going to reverse the inequality. I forgot to write the negative here, but please be aware that you're multiplying by negative 2 over 1 to both sides. In that process, on my left hand side, I got n, and the less than symbol is flipped to a greater than symbol. So n is greater than negative 12. 6 times negative 2 becomes negative 12. Do you see that? N is greater than negative 12 after I simplified. My solution set is n. N is greater than negative 12. There you go. N is greater than negative 12. So negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, right? All the values moving to the right of the number line will make this solution set work. Okay? There you go. That is 3D. So that covers that lesson.